this video, I'm going to give you 10 lessons that I have learned over the past 5 years of being an entrepreneur, and I'm going to condense it all in one video. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Nathan Dunn and I'm the co-founder of Datasets. As of now, my community Datasets helps people with a wide range of things, and I have business partners who help people in different industries. But my main goal is to help people, one, improve, and two, scale their business. I want to help people start their own business like I have done and scale it to where they can be financially free, self-employed, and do whatever they want and live a free life like I do. Which brings me into lesson one. Nobody cares about your business at the start. When you are starting out, it's daunting. You start overthinking things, you start worrying about other people and their opinions that they may have and thinking that they're going to take the piss out of you for starting your own business. When in reality, no one cares. No one cares about you. No one cares about the business that you start. And you may think that this is a good thing and a bad thing, but I'm going to explain to you how it's a really, really good thing. When you're starting off, you have no idea what you're doing. You're going to fail. You're going to make mistakes. Heck, you're going to fuck up so many times and do so many stupid things that it's going to be funny when you look back at it in a couple of years. And that is why it's a good thing, because when you mess up and you are inexperienced, you get all of your mistakes out of the way. Because when you are big, when you are a huge figure, when you have a huge reputation that you need to make sure is healthy and clean and a strong reputation, you don't really have that ability to fuck up. You're not allowed to make all of these mistakes. Look at these huge influencers or huge names that you see across social media or anywhere online. If they make one little mess up, everybody knows, and it tarnishes their reputation. When you are starting off, you have the privilege to fuck up. You have the privilege to make those mistakes. And that is one of the best things about it. Nobody cares about your business. So stop thinking that everybody is caring, everybody's looking at you, because honestly, it's actually quite narcissistic. No one cares about you and no one cares about your business, and don't make that a bad thing. Use that as leverage. Lesson number 2, attention is the most valuable currency in business. Without attention, you cannot grow your business. If nobody knows you exist, well then you cannot make money. You have to find ways to gather so much attention to where it would be stupid and nearly impossible for people to not know who you are and see your face or see your business. You could have the greatest product in the world. You could sell the best coffee to ever exist. You could have the highest quality shoes to ever land on someone's feet. But if nobody knows you exist, well then nobody cares. Nobody cares about your coffee. Nobody cares about your comfortable high quality shoes that you're wearing, because nobody will know it exists. And if no one knows it exists, well then you cannot make money. You have to make it your priority to gather attention. Remember, where attention goes, money flows. And if no attention goes, well then no money flows. And it's as simple as that. You have the likes of YouTube that has over 2 billion users. You have the likes of Instagram that has over 3 billion monthly users. You have the ability to gather all of the attention in the world, but you just have to work for it. You have to position yourself and your business as the answer. You have to get in front of as many eyes as you possibly can. So remember, without attention, there is no money. Lesson number 3. Speed beats perfection in business every single time. You need to stop trying to perfect everything. Stop doing that. You're going to go down this endless cycle, this endless loop of perfectionism, and all you come out with in the end is procrastination and wasted time. Jeff Bezos says it himself. He says it should only take about 70% of the information in order to make a decision. You are going to go through this endless cycle of analysis paralysis to where you start analyzing every single detail and end up making 0 decisions. Think about what you want to do and visualize it into your brain and take action. Stop waiting for things to become perfect, because there is no perfect time. Everybody knows this. When you speak to parents, they tell you there is no perfect time to have a child. There is no perfect time to start a business. You just start whenever you can and take as much action as you possibly can. Stop waiting for things to become clear, right? There's not going to be a huge billboard sign with your name on it that says, John, start the business now. John, this is going to work. John, if you do this, you will make 1 million euro. So start it now. That sign is not going to come up. That's not how this works. When you start perfecting everything, you end up doing nothing. When you take action, things will become so much clearer to you. And the funny thing about speed is, the more speed that you have, the more mistakes you'll make. The more mistakes you'll make, the more lessons you'll have, and the more money you'll make. Because you have to switch your perception on failure. When you take failure as just, oh, it is what it is, this doesn't work, well, then you've learned nothing. You take it as a lesson in order for you to grow and expand. When you have consistent speed, when you stop trying to perfect things and you focus on speed, you make more mistakes. With more mistakes, you learn more lessons. With more lessons, you have more wisdom. And with more wisdom, you can start taking correct action and finding out what actually works. When you start to perfect things and then you try it, most of the time, it still won't work. And that person who decided to just run through it anyway, take action anyway, they've already learned all of the mistakes that they possibly could have learned. And you've only been on step 1 and they're on step 10, correcting the mistakes that they've made and learning from them and using that as leverage to progress in the business. Stop trying to perfect everything. Start with speed and start taking action. Lesson number 4. Consistency beats motivation every single time. We have a huge deal now in the world where everybody needs motivation in order to take action. They need to wait for the perfect time. They need to feel motivated. They need that drive inside of them to finally start taking action and working on their business or starting the business. If you are relying on motivation, yes, it is great. It's an amazing feeling. You feel like you can do anything. You feel like if any issue comes your way, well, then you can just get over it, brush past it and move on. Like you are Superman, right? But the issue is motivation does not last forever. But when you have consistency, you build something called a habit. And when you have a habit, it becomes nearly impossible for you to not take action on it. You have a habit of breathing, right? That's how business works. When you have the habit of breathing, you don't even have to think about it. I don't have to tell you, hey, John, keep breathing. You're just like, I'm just going to do it anyway, regardless of how I feel. I need to breathe. When you are consistent, you have that habit. You build these habits to where you nearly become unstoppable. That regardless of how you feel, regardless of if motivation is there or if you feel disciplined or whatever, you have the habit due to the consistency that you've been putting in over the past couple of days or weeks or months or years or decades, because you've learned that motivation means absolute jack shit and that it's all about discipline and consistency. Lesson number 5, leverage. Leverage is one of the greatest things to multiply in business. Without leverage and without utilizing leverage, you are making your life 10 times harder. Recently, I gave an example and I was explaining how to get your first ever client and how to go from 0 clients of business to making as much money as you possibly can. Because at the very start of your business career and your entrepreneurial career, the hardest part of it is getting your first client and going on from there. And I was explaining the power of leverage and how to utilize leverage in order to scale a business. Now, leverage works in a way like this. Let's say you're starting out in business and you have 0 clients. You have 0 money. You don't know what you're doing. You're going to work completely for free for 5 people for 3 months. And in order to make this work, you're going to provide so much value and generate great results to where you're going to get a testimonial. And with the testimonial that you get from them, people who you're working for completely for free, you are going to get testimonials. Now, this is where the leverage comes in. You are going to use the testimonials that they gave you as leverage to get paid clients. So you can showcase to other people that you can do what you say you can do, that you can generate the results for those people like you have the people that you worked with for free. That is leverage. That is you utilizing the resources that you have as leverage in order to get more of the said thing that you're looking to achieve. And in this case, more clients. And in this case, more customers. Leverage is one of the best things that you can possibly use in business. And without leverage, you're going to make your life 10 times harder. Apologies for interrupting the video, but if you would like to access all of my self-improvement and business information, you can access it inside of the Datasets community. I'm going to attach a link below the video in the description where you can find the Datasets VIP community, and you can access all of the business and self-improvement lessons that I have learned over the past 5 years of being an entrepreneur inside of that community. And also, if you'd like to work with me one-on-one so I can help you scale your business, message me the word mentor on Instagram and I'll get back to you and we'll see if I can help you out. Anyways, back to the video. Lesson number 6. The internet has created the best opportunity in world history. It has never been easier to succeed as it is today, but it also has never been easier to be distracted. And that is the issue that we have now. If you can find a way to utilize the opportunity that we have today with the internet and not get distracted, and you use it and squeeze as much as you possibly can out of it, it is almost guaranteed for you to succeed. If you just focus on creating instead of consuming, you are going to be ahead of 99% of people. 99% of people just sit there on Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, Snapchat highlights, the For You page on TikTok, and scroll endlessly all day. If you can be that person who they scroll and watch, you could be the one who's making money. You could be the one who's changing your life while others are wasting it. With the internet, you now have the ability to reach billions with a B of people with one piece of content. You have the ability to reach billions of people with your device, with your phone, your laptop, your iPad, whatever you use, with a camera. If you use it correctly, you have the ability to reach billions of people. You just have to use it correctly and find a way to gather as much attention as you possibly can. Because remember, where attention goes, money flows. Like we mentioned in lesson 2. Lesson number 7. Most entrepreneurs quit before things even get started. Did you know Airbnb, the founders were so broke that they had to sell cereal boxes just to keep the business going? Most people start businesses and then they quit after a couple of weeks or a couple of months because they realize that it's not as easy as people say it is. Starting a business and being an entrepreneur is one of the most difficult things that you possibly can do. It is one of the most difficult endeavors or occupations that a person can undergo. You're going to go through so much self-doubt. You're going to have days to where you can't sleep. You're going to have weeks to where you barely have any money, and you're going to have people telling you that this thing that you're trying to do, this dream, isn't going to work. And then you have yourself, your own self-doubt, questioning your own ability to make this work. But you have to remember, in order to make this work, you have to push past that self-doubt. You have to make sure that you continue to push and keep pushing and keep pushing even when the results aren't there. Because if you are able to do that, if you are able to work when the money's not coming in or you're not really seeing the results and you continue to work anyway, well then you are going to succeed. Having the expectation of making as much money as you possibly could with the business instantly, and it's going to be this walk in the park, or you're just going to start spawning in and making 5, 10, 15, 20, 50, 100k months like this next year. Yes, you can do it. Yes, absolutely, it's possible. But the reality is, most people give up before they even start making 1k a month because it's difficult. But you have to continue to push anyway. Most of these big companies that you see, if you're to speak to any of the founders, they will tell you themselves that it is extremely difficult, but you just have to keep going anyway and do not give up, because you only truly fail if you give up. If you fail and you continue to push forward anyway, well then you take it as a lesson and you use it as leverage to start making things work. Lesson number 8, your environment quietly dictates how big you think. One of my best friends is a multi-millionaire And before I met him, I was still an entrepreneur and I was still working on my businesses. But I had a little bit of self-doubt in my mind that I don't think this is even possible. That I see all of these entrepreneurs and influencers online making 10, 15, 50, 100K months, or even 1 million a month. And I was thinking to myself for a long period of time, I don't think this is even possible. Maybe it's all just a way of marketing for them to just get their business out there and them to continue to grow. And they're probably not even making that much money. Until I met this guy, and he completely shifted my whole mentality and perception of money. Meeting him has been one of the greatest things I have ever done in my life. He has completely changed my whole perception on not just money, but entrepreneurship as a whole. You stop getting so tangled up with the whole materialism and the watches and the cars and the lifestyle. I met this guy and he was driving a 131 Golf. If for those of you who don't live in Ireland and don't know what that means, a Golf, a Volkswagen Golf from 2013. He wears scrumpled up white Air Forces, like really creased up, dirty white Air Forces. And these shorts that cost €10 that are kind of too small for him, with bleach stains. And that changed everything for me. Everything. I stopped getting so tied up with the materialistic side of things. I don't care about any of that stuff anymore. But he showed me that this was possible. He showed me that the things that I'm working for with regards to money, or all of the dreams and aspirations that I have to help people, is possible. You simply just have to continue and work. Just continue and work. That's all it is. Do so much volume to where it nearly becomes impossible for you to not succeed. Like Alex Hormozi says, you have to have good surroundings around you. And without those good surroundings, you're really going to struggle. And you are probably more likely, not probably, you are more likely to fail. Now, lesson number 9, accountability. You must be self-accountable for your own life. The position you are in today is because of you. And I'm not going to lie, regardless of if that statement is true or not, when you think it's not, it doesn't really help you. When you think it is, it gives you that little bit of leverage and helps your mindset to where you realize that you can fix it. Any situation you're in. If you're unhappy with your physique, when you are self-accountable and think, oh yeah, well, my mom and dad buy sweets and really sugary drinks and they're just in the fridge. That doesn't help you. When you think, okay, well, I can only get fat from what I put into my mouth with the fork. Well, then I just have to stop eating the shit and picking things up with the fork. Stop opening the fridge and the cupboard and eating the crisps and the bars. If you're not happy with what your current bank account looks like, if you think, oh yeah, well, I tried this thing and it didn't work, but it's not my fault because that person did this. You have to be self-accountable. You have to realize that the reason why you are where you are today is completely because of you. That you could have done something and made millions off of it. There is a video that you could have made today or yesterday that you could have made on social media for 10 seconds and got many business deals out of it. Reached millions, if not billions of people across social media platforms. You have to be responsible for your own actions, for your own life. Without that self-accountability, you are going to struggle. It's like I hear people talking about social media. They're like, oh man, I just can't really get views. I'm really struggling with social media. It doesn't really work. I think I'm shadow banned. Most likely you're not shadow banned. I'm not going to lie to you. You're most likely not shadow banned. Your content is probably just shit, or it's not shareable or savable. You lack engagement. Now, of course, you have videos that are more educational that might not get as many likes or shares or saves, but you could also make content that will get lots of likes, shares and saves, and that could completely change your life, or you could start a personal brand. But without that self-accountability, you have no feedback. You just consistently blame other people or the universe or God, if that's what you believe in, if you're religious. It gets you nowhere. You have to be self-accountable for your own life and your own decisions. And until you do that, you are really, really going to struggle. I don't care who you are or what age you are. Which brings me on to the last but not least, lesson 10, volume. People are so lazy nowadays. They are not willing to put in any action. They're not willing to put in the work, the sweat, the tears that it requires, the sleepless nights, the empty pockets, and everybody is lazy. A little bit of action nowadays will bring you a very, very long way. You could completely change your life if you just put in sheer volume. Alex Hormozi says, you must put in so much value to where it becomes impossible for you to not succeed. If you work a little bit, you are going to beat 99% of the people who are your competition. Find a way to start creating content. Find a way to start a business and to start promoting your personal brand or the product that you sell or the service that you provide to people, and make a couple of posts a day. Call 100 people per day. Heck, call 200 people per day. The more volume you put in, the more likely the results will come in the future. It may not seem like you're doing much as of today when you are putting in that work, because the results for entrepreneurship don't come easy. They take time. I've been doing this for over 5 years and it takes time. It took me over 2 years to finally just to start seeing money coming into my bank account from working every single day. I used to be in school when I first started out as an entrepreneur. I started my social media marketing business. That was one of my first businesses. It was like my third or fourth business. And my school was right beside my gym. And it finished at 4 o'clock. I could have went and just walked to my gym, which is 1 minute away. But instead I walked home, and I understood that the people who I was trying to help, my ideal client, they closed their office at 5 o'clock. So I ran home and I got on my laptop, and the night before I would get all of my leads so I can cold call that night, and I would pick up the phone and start dialing. I'd pick up the phone and start fucking dialing until 5 o'clock, until I knew that they closed their office. And then after that, I would get my leads again. I'd get my full list, and I'd just put in so much volume to where it was impossible for me not to succeed. People are so lazy now. You can crush your competition easily if you just put in the work. Volume negates luck. The more volume you put in, the more likely the results will come. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of the video. This has been the 10 lessons that I have learned over the past half a decade of being an entrepreneur. And it has been a wild roller coaster, but it is amazing. And I do not regret a single moment of it. If you did find it valuable, I would really appreciate if you could like, subscribe, and share to a friend who you would like them to see this video. Remember, if you'd like to access all of my business and self-improvement information containing everything that I've learned within the past half a decade, well then you can access it all inside my self-improvement community, Datasets VIP. I have attached the link below in the bio. And if you'd like me to work with you one-on-one to help you scale your business, well then just message me the word mentor on Instagram. It's Nathan Dunn 7 on Instagram. I'll attach it below in the link in the description regardless. And yeah, I hope you found this video helpful, and I'll see you all in the next one.